What is going on, everyone? My name is Joe Reynolds at LowKickMMA. Today, joining me is Dalton Rosta and his dog as well, joining in with the interview. Obviously, Bellator 289 has got a great fight coming up. How are you feeling for that fight, buddy?
Feel great, man. Couldn't feel better.
100%. And in your last performance with Bellator, it was a great victory to get, and I'm sure it felt that bit sweeter as well in terms of the build-up that you had to that fight. Do you feel as though it was sort of a bit more of a sweeter victory getting that win?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because of all the animosity building up to it, all the times that he pulled out and all the anticipation for the fight. And on top of that, all the shit he talked before in the media, a lot of the statements that he made that came back to bite him. It was a very sweet victory.
Yeah, and when you do have that sort of thing, obviously, amateur career, undefeated. I think every fight was a finish as well. And then in your pro career, the early fights were all finishes. So already a big name with a lot of potential. And then to have that sort of fight with such a build-up, MMA fans in Bellator especially, all taking notice of your fight. Do you feel as though that fight was able to allow you to sort of step up another level in terms of the popularity and people wanting to see more of yourself in the cage?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm surprised that last one wasn't on the main card against him, with us being two fighters ranked in the top 10, both being blue chip prospects. However, that win definitely propelled me to the main card this time. I was originally scheduled for the prelims on December 9th because they didn't have anything left on the main card for this year. Actually, I was scheduled for November 18th in Chicago. A couple guys turned me down, so I got pushed back, and they said it wasn't going to be till next year. But I was like, I want to fight before the end of the year. I want to get 3 in this year. They made it happen, but they're like, it's going to be on the prelims. I said, I'm fine with it. I don't care where I fight. I just want to fight. And eventually we ended up getting elevated to the main card anyway. So right where we're supposed to be.
100%. And now being at the main card and then this fight as well, obviously it allows for 2023 to become the year where you can continue to climb the rankings and start getting really close to that title shot. Do you feel as though now being in and around this sort of main card and now being able to really make a title charge, do you feel as though that's what this fight's going to set you up for in 2023?
I believe so. I mean, I don't know how many fights that Bellator has planned for me before then, but I'm definitely working in the right direction, regardless of who I'm fighting. You know, he's ranked number 10. I would prefer to fight someone above me, but John Salter was turning down the fight. That's who they wanted. And maybe after this fight, I can get a fight against him. Maybe when I finish this guy in this fight in devastating fashion, maybe I get bumped up to his spot, or maybe I get bumped up to 4 and Tokov gets bumped up to 3 and then he gets bumped down to 5. I'm not the one who controls the rankings. I don't know how that'll work. I don't know what everybody's thought process is behind it. But I think with the way I'm planning to finish this fight, once I do, that there should be some movement and I should move in that direction. But if not, I would still love to fight John Salter.
100%. And you mentioned there in terms of getting the finish, and it's been a really big part coming away with some big spectacle of a finish that people are going to talk about. Is that something that you're planning to do in the fight, or is it something that just comes naturally to you when you are fighting?
I mean, a little bit of both, but the plan is to get a finish. You know, I don't like to leave it in the hands of the judges. It's not just for the fans, but I like keeping it out of the hands of the judges because you never know what the hell they're looking at these days. They've come up with some pretty shitty decisions, and I don't want to be on the wrong end of that. So that's one reason. Two is I just like finishing fights. I label myself as a finisher. I went on 3 straight decisions, and that's unlike me. I want to get back to my finishing ways in this fight. I did last fight, but, you know, start making a habit of it in every single fight and then just go from there.
100%. And now taking a look at your opponent, Anthony Adams, into this fight. As an opponent, how do you view him in terms of when you are going into that bout?
He's a good striker. He's athletic, fast jab. Besides that, doesn't really have much. He likes to mix in a takedown here and there, but it's typically whenever he's getting back down or when he's getting scared to get hit. But, you know, I'm a better mixed martial artist. I'm a better striker too, but I'm not coming in there to do a kickboxing match. I'm coming in there to fight MMA. So who knows? I might wrestle. I might just strike. I might do all of it, but the plan is to mix it up. We'll see how it goes whenever I'm in the cage, but I definitely plans for a finish.
100%. And then when you are in a fight like that with an opponent like Anthony Adams, obviously it does play into your favor a little bit, knowing that in terms of wherever the fight goes, you will be comfortable in terms of any scenario. Do you feel as though having that now, especially with this new generation of fighters coming in from amateur, pro, major promotions, they're all becoming very well-rounded. Do you see that as being a big advantage going into this fight, having that sort of well-rounded style?
Hell yeah. I mean, people call it well-rounded. It's just called MMA. I mean, you're either good at MMA or not. If you're a good striker and you're not good at wrestling, you might get by against certain guys, against favorable matchups. But as soon as you come across another good MMA fighter that can strike just as well as you, but also has the wrestling game and the grappling game and the cardio, and they're able to transition from one to the other, then you're going to run into some problems. And I think that's what he's running into this time.
Yeah, and then as well, obviously, we spoke a little bit about in terms of the momentum that you built. Obviously, I believe your pro debut was with Bellator as well, and you're still only 27. Do you feel as though this is the promotion where you could really become one of the best fighters in the middleweight division that Bellator have seen before, or even just in MMA in general? Still young, a lot of hype around your name. Do you see that as the main goal at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, besides Israel Adesanya and Robert Whitaker, and now the exception of Alex Pereira, I mean, in the UFC, I think Bellator's 180-pound division is better, at least the top 10. And you look at the top 10 in the UFC, you have those three guys, but outside of those three guys, you really don't have much. And so I think, just continuing to win and solidify myself in Bellator will solidify me as one of the best middleweights on the planet, regardless of promotion.
Yeah, and then you mentioned that obviously with the UFC, it's quite easy for MMA fans to sort of overlook other promotions and really focus on the UFC. But it does seem, and it's been a commentary throughout the question in terms of people talking about yourself quite a lot, and it seems to increase with every fight. Do you notice that popularity increasing with every fight and seeing more people talking about yourself just due to performances that you are putting on?
That's not something I see. I just keep fighting, keep training. And, obviously I got a highlight finish this last fight, and you see in the comments and stuff, if you're looking into that, there's people that have been, jumping on the bandwagon. But I mean, in terms of like gauging the popularity, I can't really gauge it every fight. And that's not something I'm really concerned with right now. The popularity is going to grow, and my fan base is going to keep growing with the performances I'm putting on. So at the end of the day, I just got to go out there and do my job.
Yeah, and then one of the final few things for myself is, in terms of if you did have a prediction for this fight, obviously it's the marquee question in terms of always asking for a prediction. But do you see a round of when the fight finishes, or how do you see the fight going?
I'm not going to predict a round. I said this in a few interviews already. I want to get back to my finishing ways and solidifying my finishing ways. Just getting one isn't good enough for me. I got to string them together before I start making bold predictions. But the earlier, the better. I'm trying to get them out of there as quick as possible. I'm going to be patient, but whenever the opportunity is there, I'm going to be taking it.
And then as well, in terms of obviously this fight, I know you won't be overlooking this opponent in any way, but moving into 2023, do you have a position for where you are hoping to see yourself?
Hopefully John Salter next. And if not John Salter, maybe we can just get a fight for buzz, not necessarily rankings. I was talking about possibly, if I'm on the main card now, so a step up after this, and also being on the main card and getting a devastating finish, I think that could put me in like talks for possibly, depending on the name, where in my mind, I'm thinking a name that really draws attention is someone like Joe Romero, possibly fighting him as the main event for a show in Pittsburgh, back where I'm from. We got several arenas there, several places to fight. And, it's a huge city, and you got plenty of cities around it too. And, very boxing rich in culture and history, in Youngstown and Pittsburgh, Cleveland. It's all within driving distance. And I think we could sell out that arena, no problem, me against Joe Romero.
Yeah, and then the final thing for myself, just in terms of any messages to the people that will be watching the fight in terms of what they can expect if they are yet to hear the name Dalton Rosta.
Just expect the finish. That's what I want to go down as a finisher. So I plan to do that this fight. Like I said, make it a habit, and that's what people are going to come to expect of me.
Perfect. Well, that is everything from myself. If you just want to take a chance, shiny sponsors, anything like that, obviously just feel free to go ahead.
I'd like to thank my sponsors, Elite Living and Health and Glaxon, for helping me take care of my body and keeping me ready for this fight and help me get through training. On top of that, I got my normal sponsors like I always do, LW Auto, David Allen Clothing, Arias Agencies, Armina Stone, and Scooter King. So thank you all.
Perfect. Well, that is everything from myself. Obviously, Bellator 289. It's a great card, great fighters, including Dalton himself. It's a show that you can't afford to miss. It'll always be a great night of action. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.